It's Friday, folks. Another long week is behind us, and it's time for more Battlefield. More sage-like savvy advice. More just the tips, please. And more fun, shenanigans, hooliganisms, tomfoolery, and hood rat things to brighten up your day. And more random nonsense in the comments section from the angry people.
Wow.
So, sit back, crack open your favorite tasty beverage, and let the video wash away that long week you just had. Okay, before I get into it, I have a quick disclaimer. I know my video footage is a tad bit lazy. Yes, it's usually just me playing the game while I ramble on about whatever topic we're covering. I am working on that. I am sitting up a little straighter and working on proper edits to show examples of some of the details I go over. It's been on my mind lately, and coincidentally, some of the comments requesting specific things kind of made that idea come more into focus. So, hopefully, today's video will be the type I begin phasing out and bringing in more video-clipped examples of whatever it is I need to showcase. Okay, now that that's out of the way, this is what, part 3 of tips, tricks, things to do, whatever you want to call it, so you can do things in the game to help you on the road of killing things and with a smile at the same time. Now, I know since the game's been out a little over 3 months, the things I've been covering the last 3 videos you may already know about, but I'm just making sure I'm covering all the bases and basics. So if you know all the stuff, well, you're ahead of the curve. If basic training taught me anything, it's break it all down and then build it back up so that everybody's on the same page. Now, someone had asked graciously that I break things down into classes and go over them specifically, and I agreed to do so. I was already working on that project, but online nonsense got in my way and I got distracted. It happens. So this should probably be the last in general things to go over for mandatory fun before we go do deeper dives into those classes. And if there's something else you want covered specifically, well, you know where to find me. Now, keep in mind, some things will be easier to cover than others, such as flying, because, as I mentioned before, I'm a shitty pilot and I haven't even touched a cockpit yet.
Get the hell out of the cockpit! You said.
So, if you don't see your request, immediately, I am working on it, and I'll start doing updates on those upcoming videos near the end of videos going forward. Okay, onward. There's a few things we really need to talk about, fellas, like aiming and attachments. One of the habits I've had to break is when to ADS, when to scope, or shoot from the hip. A lot of games I've played before Battlefield 6's launch punished you in varying ways depending on how you shoot. Well, punished is a strong word. We'll go with rewards differently. And that all depended on what was going on. Hip firing can be a bit of, shall we say, hit or miss mechanic, but it isn't as slow or as restrictive as ADS or scoping. Hip fire is a controlled spray and pray, but it's not as slow. I've had to relearn when to scope, when to ADS, and when best to hip fire. And for me, the type of weapon I use helps me in those decision-making situations. Hip firing seems best when used in extreme CQB situations. I'm leaning more to objectively than subjectively here. And what I mean by that is, in CQB moments, the opponents have a tendency to either realize he fucked up and needs to dance around like a spider monkey to avoid your engagement, or he knew what he was doing by jumping in to literally spit in your face and is counting on you to panic. Now, a third option is that he may expect you to not panic, but did a calculated risk by trying to mount your skull and wanted to go big or go home. I have found hip firing has an increased chance of keeping up with the dude's dance moves instead of ADSing. SMGs seem to work best in these situations rather than ARs, and unless you're a pro quick scoper, which I am not, the sniper, it might just turn into a stick. Shotguns would be a second choice. So, work with the hip fire if you haven't tried it. I'm not alone in old habits dying hard when it comes to aiming. Practice the hip fire in the firing range and then start hitting those spider monkeys and make them go home. But when it comes to scoping for me, I don't typically use most of the scopes or reticles. Don't let my game footage fool you. You'll see me use them, but I'm working on a longer goal here. For sniper rifles, I tend to use a 6x or a 12x scope. Those are really my main two scopes. I'm already a slower player, so the variable scopes just add extra steps to me. It's a much easier time for me to just manually adjust my aim between those two scopes than have one with multiple settings. Rangefinder helps as well. And I generally use those two scopes on the bigger maps. If I'm on a smaller map, I swap out the two scopes for the IVR. If I'm running ARs, LMGs, carbines, and SMGs, I'm grinding for those IVRs. I didn't use them all that much in previous titles, but to me it looks like these are the much better scopes to use in Battlefield 6 than they were before in previous titles.
You said I died to structure damage.
I don't have that gaming eye. I never did.
Get out of combat.
I find it impressive seeing others who do.
They're on it.
The IVR helps me see all the players better. The only caveat for me is to avoid that tunnel vision the IVRs have a tendency to provide. In previous Battlefield games, I was a big fan of the Russian red dot reticle. And I don't know, it just doesn't look or feel right in Battlefield 6 like it did in Battlefield 3 or Battlefield 4. I'm willing to admit it could just be me having been away from the franchise for 7 years. The other games I ran during that period had Russian red dots, but they were just awful and I just stopped using them. So it could be that. I'd be interested in hearing from you if it's just me or not. Look, Battlefield 6 has a slew of reticles, scopes, and shit to grind through and figure out which is your favorite. It should go without saying, but I'll do it anyway. Grind through them. Try them out. See which one best fits your game, your match, and your overall gameplay. It's much easier to pick a favorite weapon than it is to pick a favorite attachment. But you get 3 loadout slots per class, so you have choices and options depending on your match, map, and mode. So use those loadout slots. Makes it much easier to select your loadout character class when the match starts with a single click than spend time either making multiple clicks after the match starts figuring out which one you want to pick, or spend a ton of time in the loadouts menu before you even start a game. Speaking of attachments, one of the things to grind for are suppressors. They hide you in the HUD. You can't help being manually spotted, but you can use suppressors to be sneaky as you flank around. I cannot stress suppressors enough. I am working on having all my weapons, or at least most of them, whether that be pistols, SMGs, LMGs, ARs, or carbines, to try to run with a suppressor. Now, I do have a sniper loadout with a suppressor, but that's usually reserved for CQB size maps. These little bastards come in handy, fellas. They hide your fire, which hides your position on the HUD. You only need worried about being spotted by a player instead of announcing your intent to the whole world. The other attachment I tend to grind for is magazines. The reload speed on several of these weapons is abysmally slow. My grandmothers both can reload a belt-fed LMG faster than the mechanic in this game, and both of my grandmothers are dead. So, reloading to me is premium, and I cannot tell you how many times I've died being caught in a reload situation. So when I grind for my primary loadouts, I grind for extended magazines, specific scopes and reticles, hollow points, and slugs. And the suppressors. I really don't care for the rest. For me, the underbarrel attachments don't make much of a difference in bullet spread or recoil. Plus, those specific attachments tend to mess more with the mobility factor than help them. Yeah, I know some of them do help with mobility, but most of them hinder it in the long run. At least for me. Remember, I mentioned previously I could show you my way, not the right way. If my way helps, cool. If not, well, this is why I heavily suggest grinding out those weapons and attachments to help you find your way. In a previous video, I talked briefly about running from point A to point B when you're chasing objectives. If you're running solo or in a squad, another option to consider, if you haven't done so already, is the slide mechanic. Look, let's be honest, I've seen some of the comments about this mechanic. Some of you like it, some of you hate it. But come on, it's been in the franchise since Battlefield 1. Almost 10 years now. Quit your bitching, grab your ibuprofen, and start using the mechanic. It comes in handy, I promise. If you're taking sniper fire and are lucky that the first shot missed, I promise you the second one won't be if he reloads and fires off the second round and you haven't slid or dove for cover. Sliding makes you an even harder moving target. It's also a great way to slow down. A lot of people use it to speed up their traversal time, which it does to a degree. But it also slams the brakes too. I use it a lot when I'm coming to a corner, or if I'm about to overstep and need to change direction quicker than I wanted to initially. And it makes it hard to get those fatal headshots on me if I go from a full sprint to a slide to speed crouch to full upright again. I even bring it into zigzagging if the situation calls for it. Trust me guys, it helps. Speaking of getting around the map, I was working on some of the other challenges and I wouldn't normally get into in a standard game, and was working on the progression. I hadn't touched Strikepoint much. You're going to see me get annihilated here in the first session because I wasn't familiar with the layout or what I needed to do. I just hopped into it without really knowing what's what. The challenge was win 3 Strikepoint sessions. Okay. So I hopped in and got owned. No biggie. We lost the entire session. So I tried it again, now that I got real boots on the ground feel idea, and had a better idea what to do. This one went better, and it had a more balance back and forth. The thing that really struck me was the robotic approach a lot of players had. They literally did the old battle-style Roman Legion approach of everyone converging in the middle. No one except me seemed to think flanking was a good idea. Well, one player on my team did, but he only did it once. Because I don't have that gamer eye. I didn't see the guy who hit me until after I died. So I started flanking around to come up from behind. It worked. I mean, it wasn't flashy, and sure, I got to the party late, and later than everybody else, but I got some kills and we won. I did this repeatedly and the opposition never counterflanked. Not a single time. I do this all the time, like an Empire State if we're attacking in Breakthrough. I could count on one hand how many times someone got wise to the maneuver or anticipated someone on the opposing team would even consider flanking. The funny thing is, I see other creators talk about flanking all the time. And so far in my experience in the game, it's suggesting no one knows this strategy. So I say use it and abuse it as much as humanly possible. And they say communication is key to any successful relationship. Look, this game is so much easier across the board, no matter your skill level, if people communicated. If you're down, pop the revive and let us know where and who downed you, and if they're still nearby. Let us know if the opposing team is pushing. Where's the snipers? Who's on first? I hear these comms every once in a while, but nowhere near the levels of older titles. It really needs to be borderline air traffic control levels of communication. I'm sure most of you are wearing a mic headset. Don't just use it to listen and ignore the mic. If you're running solo on purpose, well, I got nothing for you on this part other than maybe be more helpful to your teammates. Comms is one of the reasons, if not the big reason, I pimp out my Discord or suggest third-party chat. Using comms helps the team figure out the match's weak areas and gives us goals within goals to try and fix and achieve. Before, I had mentioned slowing down, especially in vehicles. But it's equally important to slow down and exercise patience. Look, we're gonna have players in every match running around like their hair is on fire. But that doesn't mean you have to keep up with it. Don't try to force it, just let it happen. If you engage with any of these zoomers and they fly away, man, do not, for the love of God, jump out of your foxhole and chase them. Let them go. Find a new target. It's gonna be okay, I promise. Don't expose yourself for that potential kill. More often than not, your impatience is what's gonna send you to the revive screen. If you're working on your sniping and line up the shot and the player moves or ducks, man, don't squeeze the trigger and waste a bullet. Wait for your clear shots. Sniping or not, spot your enemies. If the player you engage with flees after you spotted him and tried to kill him, you get points if someone else finishes him off. So spot, spot, spot. If you're defending, sometimes it's better and safer for them to come to you than you to go to chase them. Waiting an extra moment will more often than not save you that embarrassing kill. Check your HUD for potential easier targets near you. What's the saying? Slow is smooth and smooth is fast? Okay, I'm going to consider this... I'm not going to consider this next part as a helpful tip to help you unload shenanigans and hooliganisms all over the place. I've never been a big fan of stationary weapons. Why? I feel like a sitting duck, that's why. But I have seen players use them and use them effectively. I'm not suggesting to use them or stay away from them, one way or the other. They are there for a reason. It is free extra ammo on the field, and they can be extremely devastating and come in handy in clutch moments. However, they are stationary and can be easy pickings for a sharp-eye sniper or a tank. So use with caution. Look, we all know there's some asshats out there literally kneeling right next to you, using the support class and not reviving people. The Blue Falcons. I'll cover that following in more depth in one of those class videos I promised. By the way, for those of you not in the know, here, come a little closer. Yeah, just a little closer. A Blue Falcon is military slang for buddy fucker. Anyway, If you're down, don't immediately respawn. Request a revive. You're probably not going to get a revive by the Blue Falcon, literally squatting on your face, but more often than not, someone wants those points and will do their best to come get you, medic or not. If you're on casual breakthrough, those bots will come revive you if they are not immediately engaged with some other shenanigans. So be patient. I make it a rule that if bots or other players are more than 25 meters away and not getting closer, I end the revive request about halfway through the request time and respawn. If they are nearby, I'll wait. Reviving preserves respawn tickets and doesn't count as a death if the revive is successful. When I run the medic class, I try to keep up with the revives. I can't always clear a great distance if a teammate is down, but I do try my best. Now, to reiterate communication here, let's not give the tryhards free kills, guys. If you died and the opponent is still hanging out near you, spot him while you wait for the revive and tell your teammate the dude is still there. A lot of the time, these players will purposely wait for someone to revive you. It ends up giving them a triple kill. 1 kill for the engagement you just had, a double kill for the medic who comes to revive you, and a triple kill as he kills you again after the revive. It's a dick move to wait for you to be revived, but it works. It's taking advantage of a lack of comms on your part. So, if you fall victim to this, don't get mad at the player, get mad at the game, and then use it to your advantage. If you try to camp in a good spot, and the opportunity presents itself that you could kill a player, let him ask for the revive and wait for your targets to try and come and get him, falling into your trap. Don't get greedy, though. They'll come and find you eventually. Trust is a fragile thing, guys. Trail is everywhere. I'd suggest trusting your random teammates, but I won't. Yes, still hang on for dear life in case some miracle happens on the battlefield. And then you get revived. But don't have a heart attack when it doesn't happen. Just chalk it up to either someone not understanding the mechanic or they just don't care. Now, before you write that down, there is a third reason. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. When I play the mechanic class, or even assault for that matter, I have noticed a bit of a glitch in the game. Someone went down, and on my screen, there's no revive request indicator popping up. He's just laying there like he got a fatal headshot, but I can hear that player request a revive. I'm not sure what's going on there, and I can't be the only one seeing it, or not seeing it. So if you're down, either open your mic or open up in-game chat and call out. They might not be seeing the animation on their end. There's 2 types of grounds you want to be intimately familiar with. The good kind, high ground. I'd insert Obi-Wan Kenobi here, but Disney doesn't like it when any of us clip Star Wars, and I like getting paid. So just close your eyes and imagine having the higher ground. Okay, now that we have that firmly in our heads, Kenobi's not wrong. Having the higher ground presents a massive advantage over the open ground below. Learn the good spots of high ground on the maps you're playing. It's easier to shoot down than up. And no, you don't need to be recon to have this advantage. The other ground you need to be familiar with is the low and open area. You know, the opposite of the high ground. And be here at as least as possible. Duck and cover as much as you can until you can get to higher ground. I'm going to touch this one more time, as I got a lot of pushback from some players. if you're on breakthrough, casual or not, and you get in that tank, man, it had best be going towards the objectives. I was in several matches recently and someone was just hanging out in the HQ area just driving in circles. Guys, those vehicles can clutch a sector or cinch a win. Hell's bells, use them. I don't care if you think they were made in China. Use the damn thing as a distraction at least. Your sacrifice in your cheap tank could allow us on the ground to plant the bomb on the MCOM or take the flag. The alternative is you're spinning donuts at the HQ while the rest of us are respawning, wasting a ton of tickets. If you're too worried about what may or may not be an insta-death, then don't get in the damn tank at all. Let someone else use it. Work smarter, not harder. Okay, that small rant is done. Listen, there's a ton of tips, tricks, and setup guides and whatnot all over YouTube. Everyone has their opinions on classes, settings, loadouts, attachments, whatever. At the end of the day, we need to figure out the following. Which weapon and attachment loadout fits you best across all 4 classes? Which class is your go-to class? Which vehicle you're best in? Which map is easiest for you? Which mode best fits your playstyle? Become your own little expert and go ham with it. After you've narrowed everything down, got your rootinest, tootinest, shootinest shit together, you then start working on the next weapon and attachment system, class, vehicle, map, and mode, and bring them up to snuff. This is an advantage to you and your team in the long run for multiple reasons. Content drought, flexibility, things to do to kill time, and be well-rounded in the game. We're here for fun, and we can extend that by working on the things we're weaker in. Don't paint yourself in a corner. If you're a support god, and we're getting hammered by 2 vehicles on Liberation Peak, you've been working on the engineer class and have the confidence and ability to do backshots on the tanks. Just a thought. A disturbing one, perhaps, but now it's there every time you see those 2 tanks rolling up trying to take your flags because I said it. You're welcome. I appreciate you taking the time out of your Friday to hang with me. I've got some ideas along with the classes for more content baking in the oven, but if there's topics you want me to cover, you know how to let me know. I'm not going to go into a long-winded plugs like the last video. This one is short. I've added 2 new items to the gear store. Check them out. See if it's something you like. If you do buy from the store, right now everything goes back to the channel. Photo and video editing, subscriptions, games to cover, hardware upgrades, shit like that. All the ways to support, from channel memberships to the store, are in the video description, which segues nicely to this month's Veteran Spotlight support group. That information for Homes for Our Troops is at the very bottom. Easy to find, and you could skip the support of the channel stuff. Give it a look-see. Till the next one. Out.